doing this painting today, a stream running through a snowy field. I love these scenes. High contrast, vivid colors in the creek. I just love everything about these. I took the photo when it was about 10 degrees, so I didn't want to paint it plein air. But anyway, hope you join us. This is a lot of fun to do this one.
Welcome back to the studio.
Thank you. I am excited about this painting today. We are going to do one of my favorite things in the whole world, a stream cutting through snow. I just love these scenes. Oh my goodness. High contrast, creeks, trees. What's not to love? So we're going to just blast some big splashes of color on this early on, and I'm going to do this really brilliant blue down here in the corner for starters.
Oh, that is a really brilliant blue.
Isn't that brilliant? And there's another patch of it right in here, which is just barely lighter, something like that. And now we're going to start getting this darker. These kind of scenes, they have, like I said, the high contrast really makes them fun to paint for me. We're going to shift to brown colors now that are going to go streaking through here. So I'm just seeing the color and slapping it on kind of quick and keeping my edges soft between these spots of color. I've got kind of a lot of patchy colors here that I want to kind of make it feel like it's all one body of water. So I pull out a fan brush. I don't use these very often, but occasionally they're nice to kind of blend things together. Trying to lose all of the edges here. Like any place I see an edge, I want to try to get rid of it. So way up here, the colors I'm using are way lighter. You see how much lighter that is? As they get closer, they get darker. Okay, I'm going to shift gears. The snow on the bank of the river over here is reflecting into the water. So I'm going to try to put that in even before I paint the snow. So some of these snow patches are going to reflect into this water. And sometimes your finger works pretty good for blending. Sometimes I add orange to a sky to knock out the saturation of these blues. But this color here seems to be pretty bright. So I think I'm going to just leave it alone.
So why does orange knock out saturation of blue?
That's a good question, because it's opposite on the color wheel. It's the complement of blue. So that's the fastest thing to gray out a color, is to add the complement. And then they get darker as they get over here on the side. And I'm adding just a little bit of this burnt umber to the mix for this. Okay, now I'm going to go back in with that sky color. Sometimes people ask in workshops, they'll say, why do you do the trees first instead of the sky? And I answer, because I want my trees and my sky to interact with each other. I want them to have soft edges, alive edges. So I intentionally kind of paint it backwards. So I paint the trees, which are closer, and then I paint the sky farther away. But it all kind of serves to force me to make those two things interact. Okay, let's do some snow. What do you say? Remember my one rule about this color here is you don't eat yellow snow.
That's right, unless it's a lemon snow cone.
Okay, we're going to have similar snowbank over here. Need snow over here too. I'm not sure where the shadows are going to go, so I'll kind of put some of those on top of that. These areas in the shadows are being lit by the blue sky.
So if it wasn't a clear day, the shadows would be more gray.
Exactly. Now the blues in the shadows that are way back here are lighter blue. And this kind of stuff is really helpful to define how your bank runs, you know. These trees have a lot of gray in them, kind of gray-brown. And I like to vary the tree trunk so it's not just one color. So I'm going to shift into more of a burnt sienna brownish color for this down here. And these really dark edges on the shadows, like on this edge of this tree, this is all stuff to help this thing look like bright sun. Because bright sun casts dark shadows. Now the sun is almost hitting these straight on, so the shadows are really skinny, these dark shadows that I'm putting in right there. This is a high visibility area, so I'm going to make it just a little more interesting by switching to heavy body white. So this will give the white some impasto, some actual texture, and it'll kind of make it just a little more exciting. This is golden heavy body. You can see the difference, hopefully, on the camera, that it's got a lot more texture to it. Kind of going over some of these areas with this heavy body white. And then we have a patch of snow in the water in a couple of places. I'm going to put another one right here. Put one more over here in the shadows. There's a lot of stones in the creek as you go farther up the creek. Kind of rough in some of those. So the thing I glanced up and saw was that the snow is going up the side of that middle tree. The tree's probably leaning over far enough so that it's able to hold on to that snow. And then there's a gnarly tree right here, which is pretty cool. I wouldn't have to put it in, but I kind of like it. So, and these have the ability to really draw a lot of attention to themselves, so I'm kind of trying to downplay them a little bit. The more you do tree branches, the more you get a feel for how they go, because trees kind of have their own personality. So I didn't used to be able to do this quite this fast just because I was struggling with knowing how tree branches branch off, you know. This is the equivalent, what I'm doing here, the equivalent of branches running in front of these tree limbs. So picture a lot of snow-covered branches perhaps, or just light-colored branches that are running in front of these distant tree trunks. And that's kind of the impression that I'm going for. I noticed that the reflection of snow in these banks is more pronounced than what I've painted it. This gnarly tree has got a reflection kind of like that. And then this snowbank is a little bit more, a little brighter, I guess. The shadow of underwater rocks. And the way to do that is you mix up the color just slightly darker than whatever colors you've got in the water. So, you know, this is a fairly dark color, so I'm going to go just a little darker. And I'll put a line under some of these things that look like they could be a rock shape. And then I want to soften the bottom edge of it. So the top edge is sharp and the bottom edge is soft. Well, it's not perfect, but I like it.
Is anything ever perfect?
True that. Now, the one thing I don't have in the water is any indication of current. Whether or not I can pull that off, not sure. The mistake I used to make with these kind of things is I would see ripples on the water and I would say, well, those look white, and I'd paint them white or close to white. But the truth is they were just barely darker than the water, or barely lighter, than the water. What do you think?
I think it needs a signature.
Cool. I can do that. All right. Let's call that done. Hey, thanks for joining us today for this painting. This was so much fun. We looked at a lot of edge work. We had fun with this water, how things go back in the distance, a little bit of atmospheric perspective, how to paint snow in sun and in shadow. Just a lot of fun things in this painting. So thanks so much. See you next time. Hope you enjoyed the highlights. If you want the full video, click on that link below. Thanks so much.